Hey everybody, this is Izzy. It's been a while. It's been several years since I've made a Herc tutorial. I've revisited my past work that I've done years ago. I've been training a guy to kind of learn how to do all this. He's doing really well, but the reason I'm making this video is because I went back and I had to revisit all these things that I had made videos on before, and I left things out and I made mistakes on those videos. And this is kind of to clarify. Also, this is to introduce a script that I wrote. It's a Max script that does most of the work for us. We don't have to worry about doing hierarchies and things of that sort. And you'll see here that there's a large hierarchy here, and you see how everything here is already done, which I'm going to change. I'm actually going to delete everything out of this, basically. All these sequences and all this stuff here that I've imported through the script. The script does all this, so I'm just going to delete it out. Don't need them in there. And so if you have this version of Max with the scripts in it, which I will be releasing soon, what you want to do here is let's just pretend like you imported this Herc. Let me go ahead and unbind all this. I don't want any of this stuff bound together, okay? And I'll tell you why in a second. Just go ahead. I'm going to unlink all of it. Basically, all that does is it gets rid of any hierarchy at all. Now everything's just back the way it was normal. So let's just say you imported this Herc, and you've got your names on it. And basically, it's the same layout as the Knights Apocalypse. Same amount of parts. Pretty much same amount of parts as the rest of the stuff on Starsiege 2. So there's a foot right there ganked up. Doesn't look very good. I'm not going to try to fix it right now for sake of the video. But let's just say you imported this Herc and you've got this named foot, calf, leg, whatever you named it. It don't matter. As a matter of fact, if you want to use the script, you could probably get in the habit of using the names that's in the script. So what we need to do is go over here to this hammer tab and go down to where it says Max script. Okay? Don't pay attention to that right now. But go down to open script right here and just click on where it says script files, MS. Drop that down to all. Okay? And go up here to where you see Herc script 1 and just click it. And right here, when you open this Herc script 1, you're going to see a list of names. Okay? So what you need to do is you need to start over to the right foot and click the right foot, and you need to go through here and find out what right foot is named. Right foot is 1. So we need to go over here to where we got a naming box, and we need to just change the name of the right foot to 1. And this might sound silly at first, but you'll see in a second. Okay, so the right calf is number 2. So here's our right calf. We're going to name it 2. And our leg is 3, and I think you get the idea so far. So the leg's going to be 3, so forth. Pelvis is going to be 4. So this is the pelvis. We're going to name it 4. This is just so the script can identify every part. It's going to rename it too. So 4, and the head is 5. So let's go ahead and rename the head 5. The head is 5. And 6 is the right pod, right? 6 is the right pod, yeah. So we got 6, and we got 7 is the left pod, 7 is the left pod, and we've got 8 as the auxiliary AO, which I don't know if this thing has one. I don't think it does. If it doesn't have an auxiliary AO, which is what you see on the there it is. Okay, so auxiliary AO is going to be 8, so we're just going to name that 8. 9 is going to be this leg, so I went up one leg, down the other, so 9 is going to be this leg. And then we've got 10, which is going to be the left calf. Okay, 10 is going to be the left calf. And 11 is going to be this ganked up foot down here, which is going to cause problems later, but it's okay. Left foot is 11. And I don't think this has a cockpit. I'm gonna double check. This was, yes, it does have a cockpit. This was modeled by Dustin, and I screwed the foot up. He didn't do that, so the cockpit's gonna be 12. Okay, so we got 12 parts in total. Okay, and as you can see, the next part of the script is where it starts doing the hierarchy. But don't run the script yet. And here's how you run the script. You go to File, and then you go to Evaluate, and that runs the script, okay? Or you can just run the script over here on this tab with the Run Script button. But don't run the script yet, okay? Just kind of set it to the side, or go ahead and close it out and open it later, because we got work to do. Now what you need to do is reset your pivots. Oh Lord, that sounds hard. It's not hard at all. So what you do is you go over here to your, looks like a bunch of TVs connected together with some lines. It's pretty stupid looking, but this is some old software. So you go to Pivot right here, and you click on Effect Pivot Only. Okay? Now the first thing you want to do is just select everything in the scene. Edit, select all. Okay? Do you see this? Then you want to reset your pivot, and then you want to align to object. Okay? Or actually, you know what? Center to object. Click on Center to Object, because you want every single pivot to be in the center of the object, and you want them to be realigned so they'll line up correctly. So, okay, so we got that done. Let's leave the Effect Pivot Only on, okay? And what I like to do is I like to zoom in on this right here, start with my foot. So I'm going to start with this foot right here, and as you can see, the pivot of the foot is exactly about where it's supposed to be, okay? Needs to be right in the middle. It's not exact, so I want to make sure it's exactly in the middle. And this little shoe here off to the Y side, that means I can move it to the Y. So I'm clicking on Y up here at the top. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a up and down here. Move it on the X axis to get it in the middle. And there we go. We're done with that, okay? Then we're going to go to the next one. Alright, so we're going to have to put this where the calf meets the leg, so it will rotate correctly, okay? And I know this seems like it's tedious right now, but it's all going to make sense here in a minute. And then we want to make sure that's exactly where that is, where that calf meets that leg. And I'm still not happy with it, so I'm going to have to work on it for a second here. There we go. Calf meets the leg. Now let's go ahead and select the leg, okay? So here's the leg. That's way off. The pivot's way over there. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to move it over here about where the fulcrum of the rotation would be. That's pretty close right there, bud. So the rest of it I don't care about. The rest of the objects, the pivot's centered to the middle of them, they're going to just kind of float along. We don't have to worry so much about them. This foot right here is about right. It just needs to be kind of centered a little bit better. This is the gank foot, so that foot's going to be walking a little funny. I ain't worried about it right now for tutorial purposes. So we got that where it's supposed to be, okay? So let's go to the calf now. Calf's way off, so you can see the calf needs to be up here. So I'm moving over here in this other viewport, the left viewport. So we're going to have to actually go up maybe on a Y or Z axis to get that up there. So having some issues with that. Let me reselect it here. Okay, so let's move it up on a Y axis. Actually, it says Z, because Z's pointing up right here. Let me see here. Line pivot only. Yeah, we're in the right area. Oh, okay. So I bet you I've got this locked from a previous work I did. No, I don't. Okay. So we got this up here about where it needs to go, and we need to put it about right there. Okay, that's going to be where the leg kind of pivots on, or the calf pivots on the leg. And this green one, we got to get it where it goes. So we're going to just move it over here, and you can kind of eyeball it and tell exactly. And if you have trouble, with looking through this stuff, like I can't see that one because this one's in the way. So you can hide anything you want. you just go over here to this tab right here that looks like a red pyramid with a circle, and you can just hit hide selected. I just hid that, or you can unhide all. And there's our bounds, so we need to get rid of that too. Get that out of the way. So we click the bounds, and we hide it to get it out of our way. It's annoying. And then we can go right back to our bunch of TVs connected together, and click on Effect Pivot Only, and we're right back to where we was. So now everything should be correctly placed. The pivots all should be correctly placed. Okay. Once you get your pivots correctly placed, what you would want to do is we want to hold on a second. We want to go ahead and run the script. All right. So when we run the script, what it's going to do, it's going to do the hierarchy. It's going to do the naming, all that stuff. Add the sequences. Add some dummies. But we're not going to really use those dummies right now, because I'm writing script to do my own dummies. So in order to run the script, we just go back over to the hammer tab. We go down to Mac script. We can click on Run Script, Open Script, whatever. And we just go over here, click on All, and we run the first Herc script. I'm going to click it and open it. And then I'm going to go to Evaluate, File, Evaluate. I already had a base A64 in there because, like I said, this was something I was working on before. I'm just going to click on Delete Ode and Bounds. Okay. We're going to use all the scene materials. Alright, and there we go. Let's go ahead and look and see what happened here. Our stance got a little goofy, didn't it? That's okay too. This is a cam. I'm deleting that out. That's the camera that goes inside the cockpit. But for this video purposes, we don't need that. You can add your own cam. So if you go over to the hierarchy, you're going to see that everything has been named. Everything is done. It's imported all of the sequences and everything. Also, too, it copied all the controllers from the APOC over to the legs, so you don't have to fool with that either. So that's good. Here's some of the dummy controllers right here. I'm just going to delete them. They're basically what moves the feet, but I'm not getting into that right now because, like I said, I'm going to create my own script to do the dummy controllers, which is much, much more stable. So we're going to turn him around a little bit. Now what happened is, after we put the pivots in, and we put the pivots down and put them in their particular places, when we ran the script, it created the hierarchy, so it linked everything together. And you can do that yourself. You can go back and watch my other old videos. So if you rotate something, it rotates everything. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So now we have a kind of like almost like a puppet. It is a puppet basically. So I'm going to put this foot down. I'm going over here into my left viewport, see where it's at. I'm just going to drop this down a little bit and kind of make it have a better stance. There we go. That's kind of cool. So anywho, and that's that screwed up foot right there, the one I was telling you about. Anywho, I should fix that stupid foot. I'm not worried about the foot right now. So after you set the pivots and you run the script, the hierarchy's formed. Everything's chained together. You move one part, it moves another part. So what do we do next? Okay, next we got to make sure that those parts can only move a certain amount of time, amount of space, okay? So if you notice this thing right here, it can do this. We don't want that. So that's where we come in and we start building our IK controllers, okay? So what we want to do is we want to go back to the TV screens up here, okay? The 4 TV screens. And let's go off a pivot and let's go to IK. Alright? So these feet, in order for them to properly work when they touch the ground and everything, you need to weigh them down. So click on Terminator. I'll be back. Bind position. And you need to bind the orientation. And Dynamax, if you look at the APOC, they just used 1 in the weight. I like to get stupid. I like to use 20 because 20 makes that foot seem like it weighs a frickin' ton, and it makes it look cool when it walks. And that's just me. Okay, now we'll do precedence in a second. Okay, I ain't worried about precedence. Precedence is the precedence of movement, and it's really simple. All you have to do is just do a little chain. Okay, now let's go down here to these axes, okay? Now the foot, this is how you limit the movements of the Herc. So this Herc right here, this axis is active, which means this is the x-axis. This is the back and forth from the left to right movement. We need that active, okay? But this will only move from negative 135 to 10, which basically, if you grab this and hold your left mouse button down and you move this back and forth, you can see this foot moving. You see what I'm saying? Look at that. See how that foot's moving? We're going to limit the amount that foot can move. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to reset this to 0. Just put 0 and 0 in here, okay? Because every time you do a Herc, it's going to change. And those were the numbers from the APOC. So I got it 0 and 0. What I want to do is hold my left mouse button down. And I want to go negative, go down, go negative. And that's about how far I want that foot to move. I don't want that foot to move any further. And I'm looking down here in my perspective view, and I'm looking as I move it. So that's all I want to move that foot. I don't want it moving a lot back. And I'm going to do this one up. So it's going to go up. And as you can see, I'm thinking that foot don't need to go any further than that, okay? Now, it does have to move a little bit on the y-axis. It doesn't have to if you don't want it to. But in order to not get gimbal lock, which basically is when the part locks up when it moves and it doesn't work, you can add a little bit of movement to the foot. And what I do is I do active limited, which means you're limiting the movement to 20/20. 20 is basically nothing. See this? Okay, now where that comes in at is when you do the side strafe or the side step, when you're turning, the Herc kind of does a little side step. That's where that comes in handy at, because it can move that foot just a little bit. If you do a side step, I guarantee you, I'm gonna put a negative 20 back in there. If you do a side step, I guarantee you'll move your foot a little bit. Z-axis, don't need it. Get rid of it. All that, take it out. Z-axis is gone. Okay, now we need to put a lock in place. This foot does not need to move. It needs to rotate. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go back over here to the link info. See where it says link info? Now think about this. Movement, XYZ. We don't want any movement at all. We don't want the foot to move. We want the foot to rotate on an X and a Y axis. So everything else needs to be locked out. Now that foot right there will not move, and it will only rotate on X and Y, and it will only rotate as far as it's limited. Like you put down here, you put the limited right here. Active and limited. So these things are limited to these particular movements, and we already said it. Precedence is 40. Precedence is 40, okay? So let's do the calf next. I'm going to go kind of fast. I done kind of explained everything to you. Precedence is 30 on the calf. Okay? So we don't weight the calf down. We don't put anything up here at all. Nothing. Just the foot gets weighted. So this calf muscle here is active, limited, and see down here, none of these are active or limited because the calf doesn't move on a different axis. It moves straight forward. So I'm going to go ahead and make this 0 and 0. That basically just resets it to its current position. And this is always negative, so I'm going to move it down. And I'd say that calf will probably come out to about what? Right there? That's kind of about as far as a human leg would bend, right? So negative 67. And this one's going to be, oh, I don't like this. No, we got that way too high. Okay, so this one's going to go up about right here. That's about as far as a Herc's leg would move anyway. So I'm going to release that. So we got that set, okay. So let's go up and put our locks on. Now for legs and calves, you need to just lock everything out but X. Because all you want this thing to do is rotate on an X. That's straightforward. That's it. Okay, we're finished with that. So next what we need to do is we need to move on and do the leg, okay? So the leg is going to, we don't do any of this. We don't do any of this. So what we do, the leg's going to have a precedence of 20. We're just going in line. Foot was 40, calf was 30, leg is 20. Then we're going to go down here. We're going to do our active and limited, no y-axis on the leg. Unless you want it to walk funny, you can make a little bit of y-axis if you want the hip to swing out. Things like that, you just have to think outside the box. I'm going to go ahead and zero it out, 0, 0. And we're going to start with that other leg now. We're going to go down. Always make sure it's negative. Okay. That leg is going to go up to about right there. We can't have it clanking up against our upper part. And then we're going to go up with this one, and that leg's going to go about right there, okay? Okay, now, that's how you do the legs. You can copy the controllers from this side to the other side by just, writing them down, and then you can punch them in over there so you don't, or you can just do it the way we did this side. It doesn't make a difference, really. So you can just rotate it around like this, come over here, do the same exact thing with this side. Grab your foot. All right, grab your foot down here. I'm going to go over this just real quickly so you see again. Terminator, axis, orientation, 20, 20, 20, 20. Okay? And then we're going to go down here. We're going to do the same thing. Every single thing we did. Just leave this 20-20. That's just that little bit of side strafe on the foot. Take this Z-axis out. Get it out of there. We don't need that. All right, so go ahead, reset this to 0, 0. Those are the apocs. So let's go ahead and make sure it's always minus on this side, okay? Minus, the foot can't go no further than that. And we go up. That looks stupid, so we're going to try to make it flat. Now we notice this is in the negative. Let's just do a loop-de-loop on that and bring it back up here for a second. Let's see if we can zero. And I want to zero that out now back where it was. Alright, so I'm going to zero this out again. I don't like the way that was setting. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back down into the negative again. That's about as far as I want that to go. I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up to the kind of the top again. That's about as far as I want that to go. So all I did was rotate the foot around in a circle to get that back up there where it needed to be. Okay, so we're good here. Let's go over here to the link info. Foot needs to rotate X, which is what we're going for here, and Y. Okay, and it needs to move a little bit on the Y. Forgot to put that on the other one. I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and do that now. It needs to move a little bit on the Y. It doesn't need to rotate on the Y. It needs to move on the Y. So take that out. Okay. So what we're doing here is we have movement of the foot, rotation straight forward. It only rotates on the Y axis, which is straight out, left, up and down right here. But it has to move just a small, tiny bit on the Y axis. So, and if it doesn't work, if it acts screwy when you do that, just take it out. Just click this and go back and unclick the this right here. Just go down, completely unclick this right here. Click out of it, and it'll take care of the Y axis. It won't even be a problem anymore. Okay, so same thing with the leg. We don't do any of this. We just make sure that these are here are off. We got to make sure that it's not stupid, not bending really weird or anything like that. And then, see, that's really too stupid there. We need to bring that down. Herc can't do that. So Herc can bend its leg to about right there. So there we go with that. And then we got to make sure the locks are in. Everything's locked. We don't want it to move at all. We want it to rotate. So this right here is the same thing. Don't want to move it to all. We don't want it to move. We want it to rotate on the x-axis. And then we're going to go back and just double check the IK controllers for the this particular thing. This is 40, so that's not bad. It's not bad. Right there's about right where that leg needs to be. Basically what you should do is go over here and click your old leg and look at negative 46.3, and then come over here and type in negative 46.3, and then go back over there and look at your other leg again, and it is a 128.4, and do a 128.4. That way it's all symmetrical. One leg can't move further than the other leg. Take these out. You don't need these on your legs. No y-axis there, bud. So if you move it now, if you go up here and you use your move tool, you rotate it on a z-axis, you're going to see how it moves like this. It's yeah, it's moving the right way. So control Z that, okay? So what we need to do now is basically our hierarchy set up. Our legs are in the right positions as far as pivots go. Everything's locked accordingly, the way it should be. And if you mess up, you can always hit Control Z. You're like, oh well, if you do this, you can just hit Control Z and go back to where you was. So the next video that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to bind the dummies to the feet. I'm going to show you how to do the track view, which is totally simple. And I'm going to show you how to do the animation using dummy controllers. Totally simple. You've done the hard part already. The rest of it's pretty easy. This is the part that I was telling you about that I didn't really explain very well in the old video, but I feel like now I have explained it well. And you don't have to use the script. If you want to be, if you want to do it yourself, you can do this hierarchy yourself. Just name each individual part of the Herc exactly as you see it here, and then you can do this yourself, but the script just makes it so much easier. The animations, I wouldn't recommend trying to do them yourself. They're on every single Herc in Starsiege. Every single Herc walks the same in Starsiege. They all use recycled dummies, and I'll show you that too. I can import the dummies from the Goad, and you can see that as well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show that to you right now. You know what? You did all this hard work. You deserve to see this thing walk. And like I say, it might walk a little screwy, but there's a thing up here called Merge. You go to File, and then you go to Merge, and you can take parts off of other Hercs. So go down here, and I'm going to find the Goad, okay? Here's the Goad. I clicked on the Goad, and it opened up the list of stuff that's inside the Goad. What I want is the dummy controllers off the feet. I don't really care about the rest of it. So here's a dummy right. We need that. I'm going to hold the control button down. We don't want the dummy ears, just the dummy right and the dummy left. That's the feet. And there's the dummy left right there, okay? So that's all I want from the Goad. I'm going to hit OK. And then there they are. Now if you'll notice, you can't see them, and that's because they're hidden probably. So let's go up here and unhide them. Let's just unhide all. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to delete this bounds. You have to have a bounds on everything. So there's the dummy controllers. And if you'll notice how small they are, they're very see how tightly spaced they are? They're very, very small. And if you go over here and you move your time slider, see where it says 0? And you can see a move. See a move there? They got a pretty good stride on them though. But this is the way the dummy, this is the way the Goad initially stands on 0 key, 0 time. So we need to either shrink our Herc down to fit that, or we can change the stance. So I'm just going to change the stance of my Herc, okay? I don't really want to, I'm not a big fan of shrinking it. And all I'm doing is moving around some stuff, some keys. Moving around these legs on the x-axis, of course. That's what we put everything down to move to, right? So, oh, I just missed the Herc. Control Z. I messed the dummy up. So anyway, oh, did it again. Grab the dummy controller. That's why you can hide stuff. Don't forget to hide stuff. So anyway, as you can see up here in the front viewport, my feet are somewhat in the line with the dummies. I'm not gonna line this up perfect, and it's gonna walk funny, but in the game you'll want to line these up perfect. So what you can do is you can move the dummies a little, and you might be able to actually scale them down some. Let me see if I can do that. You got to do them both at the same time, and it's got to be universal. Whatever you do to one dummy, you have to do to the other at the same time. Okay? So I'm going to try to scale these down a little bit and see if I can get them. Yep. Yeah, they are there to go. They're fitting the feet much better right there. Okay? You might be able to use the align tool, but I wouldn't suggest that. Remember, do whatever you do to the Hercs together at the same time. I mean, the dummies at the same time. And That's why I'm eliminating the dummies, basically. I'm trying to write a script to create the own animation of the dummies, and it's going pretty good. I've almost got it completed now. So what you want to do now is you want to grab your foot, your right foot, and you want to hit the bind button, okay? You want to bind that foot to that dummy. So you can either do it this way, you can hold your left mouse button down and drag it to the dummy. There's a little pin there, and let go. Or you can go up here and hit the select tool and drop down menu and select the dummy. Same thing over here. Gonna click the foot, and then I'm gonna go over here. Bind's already selected, and I am going to drag it over here, and I'm gonna connect it to the dummy. Now it's connected, okay? So I'm going back up here, and I'm selecting my selection tool, and the dummy's good. The foot's good. I was just checking to make sure the weight and everything. So here's what you do now. You select both dummies, okay? You can do that by clicking them and hitting Control on your keyboard. I just select them both. And you can apply an IK, which is Inverse Kinematics. I may have not said it right. I don't know. But anyway, what that does is that's going to allow those feet to adopt the movement of the dummy, okay? So what we want to do here is we want to... I just do this. You can click on clear keys. Usually I don't do that, but it'll just clear the keys out down here every time you do it and kind of make a new fresh set of keys. I'm just going to hit apply K, okay? And when I was ready. So basically what I just done was I copied the dummy controller's movements to the feet. The feet are linked to the calf and the leg. So wherever the feet move, the calf and the leg moves also. So the dummies are moving the feet. The feet is moving the calf. The foot is moving the calf is moving the leg. It's like a puppet. Okay? Now one problem we're going to have, and I'll show you here in just a second. And as you can see, it's walking. It has inherited the animation of the Gold's dummy controller. And that's part of it right there. I know it looks weird. Here's the run part. Weird. So anyway, it inherits the dummy controller's actions. Okay? Now, and I know it looks like it might walk a little crazy, but that's because the dummy controllers wasn't properly fitted to the feet. Okay? But if we properly fit the dummy controllers to the feet and the feet are weighted properly, you would see a I will tell you one thing. You notice how the leg in the back drags; it doesn't really raise. That's because of that ganky foot. You got to get your foot and pivot set right. But I mean, other than that, it's pretty good. I could work with that. I could go in there and fix that foot. I could get those dummy controllers on that pivot. You can align things by using this align tool up here. And what I do usually is I just I will align a controller like this to let me go back and select only that one controller so I can show you this. I'll grab a controller like this, and what I'll do is I'll click the align tool, which is right there, and I'll click the foot, and I will align the pivot point to the pivot point on the X, Y, Z. And as you can see, look where it went. It went bam, right there in the center, right on the pivot of that foot. Now, that foot right there would animate very correctly. But the only problem is, see there, it's actually in sync with it now. So I can go back and rerun the IK controller again, and it'll probably fix the problem. And if that doesn't, then, well, for that particular foot. So you'll see how much better that foot actually works now. Look at that. That foot is great. Yeah. See, we got a good step right there, a good walk sequence. The other foot, no, because it's still got that Genki foot. Now, you can pretty much move these dummies around, but if you mess up the walk sequence of the dummies, you're going to mess up the actual walk sequence of the Herc. But the key to that is just Control Z. You can always undo stuff. If you get in a pinch and you don't like the way these dummy controllers are working or whatever, you can always remerge them. Or if you don't like the way The Herc is animating. You can go up to track view, open track view, find the particular parts that you want to delete the keys from, and just reset the animation. Like if you don't like these dummy lefts, dummy rights, you can just select them and hold control key down and hit this button that looks like an X, and that's going to delete all the keys out of the dummy controllers or the parts you want to delete the keys with. So any animation you don't like, you just come up here and you just find your animation parts. Like be under base A64, there's the legs, the pelvises, there's the left leg, there's the right leg. Select all of them if you don't like the animation and delete it. Just hit this delete key, okay? Alright, that's the lesson for right now, because this video is going to be very long and I don't want it to be that long. So the next video is going to be more about IK controllers, more about track view, more about setting up your vehicle to properly work in the game, okay? And more about the script. Alright, man, appreciate it. Glad you watched this. I'll see you later. Bye.